Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the virtual public informational meeting for state project number 0169-00131, bridge number 04814 in the town of Woodstock, Connecticut. Next slide, please. To access closed captions and subtitles in Zoom, on the bar on the bottom portion of the screen, you can click Show Closed Captions, select the speaking language, and then pick the language you would like from the list shown. Closed captioning, including non-English translation options, will be available on YouTube after the live event. My name is Mark Burns, and I'm the supervising engineer for the local bridge program with the state of Connecticut. The goals of tonight's meeting will be some housekeeping, a formal presentation of the design, which will explain the existing conditions and define the purpose and need of the project, a proposed recommended alternative, and then following the formal presentation, there will be a live question and answer session for any questions that you may have. This is the plan on Title VI, Civil Rights. No person shall, on the basis of race, color, or national origin, be excluded from participation or subject to discrimination in development of this project. We highly encourage you to fill out the voluntary post-meeting survey located at the QR code in hyperlink below, And then there's also a hyperlink to the department's Office of Equity Title VI page. A recording of this presentation will be posted to the department's YouTube channel after the event, and closed caption options are available on Zoom and YouTube. Here's another slide regarding Title VI. And the same slide in Spanish. During the Q&A session, if you want to ask us a question, you can select the Q&A tool at the bottom of the Zoom webinar window, then enable a pop-up window. Then you can type your question in the text box and click enter. If you're an audio-only participant, you can dial *9 to raise and lower your hand. You can also reach out to us by email at dot-flbp@ct.gov, by phone at 860-594-2020, which is a monitored voicemail line, and the Zoom Q&A during the question and answer session. We also encourage you to visit the project webpage located at the link below. Comment period will be open through July 22nd, 2025, but the Q&A event is only available during the live session. Funding for this project is through the Federal Local Bridge Program's Design Managed by State, or DMS program. Traditionally, projects were funded in the program with an 80% federal reimbursement and a 20% town match for design, rights-of-way activities, and construction. In the DMS program, design, rights-of-way, and construction phases are funded with a minimum of 80% federal dollars and a maximum of 20% state funds. Design, rights-of-way, and construction phases are at no cost to the town. And even though the town has elected to have us take over the design on their behalf, it is still a full partnership, and we've been coordinating with the town at key project milestones. The goals of the DMS program were to provide a streamlined approach to design using our DOT resources, to aid the towns to keep the bridges in a state of good repair by effective use of funds, decrease typical design time from 60 months up to 24 to 36 months, when applicable, utilizing accelerated bridge construction techniques to shorten construction duration, and to increase the number of municipal projects delivered to construction each year. Representing the Department of Transportation, for Derek Lassard, Division Chief of Bridges. As I said, my name is Mark Burns. I'm the supervising engineer for this group, for the CLE group. Michelle Rame is the project engineer for this project, and Jack Carlson is the project coordinator for the Office of Rights-of-Way. Representing Clough Harbor and Associates, who's the department's on-call for this project, are Anand Sasadri, CLE team leader, Jonas Casada, CLE project manager, John Pirelli, CLE highway lead, Pete Parent, hydraulics engineer, and Sarah Manston, environmental scientist. This slide shows a brief overview of the key structural elements of a bridge. The driving or walking surface is known as the deck. Adjacent to the deck are the parapets, which prevent vehicles or people from hazards located on the side of the road. Supporting the deck and parapet is the superstructure, in the case of this diagram, is made from steel beams. The rest of the superstructure is then supported by the substructure, which consists of the abutments, which is located on each side of the span, as well as wing walls that act as earth retention. And depending on the span of the bridge, there'll be one or more piers to add additional support. Bridges are inspected biannually by the department and are given a condition rating on a scale of 1 to 9, with 9 being in excellent condition and 1 being an imminent failure. But before a bridge reaches that point, our Office of Bridge Safety reaches out to the town to recommend that they take corrective action or possible closure, depending on the condition and severity of the structure. The town of Woodstock is represented by the first selectman, Chandler Paquette, who unfortunately could not be in attendance tonight, but we've given him a presentation and the town is in support of this design. We'll now turn over to Dionis for the formal presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. As Mark mentioned before, this is project 169-131, the replacement bridge 4814, which carries Kenyonville Road over Still River in the town of Woodstock. So the bridge location is located in Kenyonville Road, which is located south of Route 171. It's located west of Route 198, which turns into Eastford Road that goes on to Eastford. As you can see, the Woodstock town line is very close to Eastford, close to this bridge. There is also Westford Road that's located south of this bridge, and Crystal Pond Road, which is really close there at southwest corner. The roadway, it is classified as a rural local road. It has 2 travel lanes, a total width of 22 feet from curb to curb. It sees about 482 vehicles per day, 7.3% being traffic. And it has a design speed of 25 miles per hour, which is the same as the posted speed limit. The existing site at the northwest of the bridge is considered to be archaeological sensitive, as there used to be a historic mill there. The bridge itself was constructed in 1947. It consisted of consisting of a 22 feet simple span concrete slab. That's what the superstructure is made of. The substructure is made of a concrete abutment and wing walls, as you can see in the image, and that's tied into stone masonry retaining walls on the upstream. The foundation is spread footings on soil. The bridge rail system is steel post with top channel and metal beam rail. Hydraulically, this is classified as an intermediate structure. This is carrying 7.95 square miles of watershed. The design storm for 100 years is calculated at an elevation of 602.1 at the bridge. This means the underclearance, you have negative 3.1 feet of underclearance. That's the distance from the 100-year storm to the low chord of the bridge, which is sitting at elevation 599.1. More information also, the freeboard at this location, it is at 80 feet west of bridge. What that is at the lowest point of the roadway, you have about negative 1.5 feet of freeboard from the 100-year storm elevation. The backwater is set at 2.2 feet. And you can see the clear span here from abutment to abutment is 20 feet. The 1.2 times bank for width, which is something that we designed towards, is a total of 31.2 feet. The bridge is scour susceptible. These are conditions we're looking for the design. For the Connecticut DOT, they did a low rating back in July 2021. The inventory HL93 design vehicle rating came out to be 0.39. The legal loads rated less than 1.0. What this means is the existing bridge will likely require weight restrictions, and it's currently not posted for those weight restrictions as of today. As Mark mentioned, there is inspection done every 2 years on these bridges. In October 2024, the last inspection, the deck was rated in a condition of poor, which is a rating of 4. This reflects in the superstructure, which is also a 4 of poor. Due to the condition of the concrete slab, as you can see here in the image, there's a lot of cracking, and this is typical throughout the whole concrete slab. The substructure, the approach, and the channel and channel protection is all satisfactory or in good condition, rating from 6 to 7. However, the railing, which is also in satisfactory, rating a condition of 6, it does not meet the current safety standards. that's something we will be in design doing. Here's some conditions of out there in the bridge. This is looking east approach. Note the utility poles on the south side of the Kenyonville Road. This is the bridge looking at the west approach. This is looking east. This is further east. This is at the intersection between Kenyonville Road and the Pond Road. Further out, you can look at Route 171. It's more east of the bridge. This is Pond Road looking north. Underneath this Pond Road is a channel, which now comes out here in an open drainage channel and merges with Still River upstream of the bridge. If you look then from that same location, you look to your right, there will be a driveway that's adjacent to the bridge. That driveway has this drainage pipe that's underneath. That's all going to be part of the project and replaced. And further out into Pond Road, looking south of Pond Road, there is also another drainage pipe that will be replaced underneath. And those are the conditions of what's out there today. This is the typical north abutment and south abutment view. Like I said, it's in satisfactory condition. However, the slab, which is the concrete slab here, as you can see in this image, shows a lot of effluence and map cracking. And on the northwest side of the bridge is the archaeological sensitive area. As you can see, there's a lot of stones. It is our understanding there was a mill there, which is historic, and we are trying to stay away from it, and no impacts is anticipated. Still River, this is looking downstream from the bridge. This picture is looking upstream from the bridge. There's this wing wall that's attached to the existing retaining wall that you can see here from this property. That's all part of construction. And then given all the existing conditions, we labeled that the project purpose and need is to increase the low rating capacity of the bridge to carry the legal loads to avoid weight restrictions as there are today, address the poor condition of the deck and superstructure, improve hydraulic adequacy and performance, and eliminate scour susceptibility, increase the roadway width from 20 feet to 24 feet, replace the bridge and approach rail system to meet current safety standards. The bridge has been in service for 78 years, and the typical service life is between 50 and 75 years. So this bridge is out at the top of its service life. Given those, we proposed and we recommend a new twin precast concrete box culvert to replace the entire bridge. You can see the image to the bottom right. That is the recommended replacement for this bridge. It is 2 box culverts of 16-foot span by 10 feet of rise. This construction will safely carry AASHTO design, legal, and permit vehicles, no weight restrictions. It will have a 24 feet wide roadway, an open bridge rail, an approach rail system meeting safety standards, and it will improve the hydraulic performance. As I mentioned before, the 1.2 times manifold width was 31.2 feet. The clear span on this proposed condition will be 32 feet. That will help the hydraulic performance to create a negative 0.8 under clearance, which is much better than the existing negative 3.1 feet. A 0.5 freeboard, which is better than the existing negative 0.15. A 0.1 backwater elevation, which is better than existing, that is 2.2 feet. This recommended alternate is an easier bridge to construct without the need of pile foundation, and it's also a lower initial and life cycle cost than other alternates we looked at. And it provides a 75-year service life with minimal maintenance. As part of this bridge, we have also placed form liners to the concrete surface that simulates these stones. This is for the wing walls, and then this is for the end blocks. These are things that improve the aesthetics of the bridge, and this is up to the town's choice. Also, the metallized bridge rail color is also up to the town's choice. Looking at the box from the roadway, the curb to curb will be 24 feet 10 inches. That provides 2 lanes, 12 feet 5-inch lanes on both directional. On the sides, you will have a 3-tube curb mounted bridge rail that's going to be supported by the head wall concrete curb rail base here. All that put together gives you an out-to-out of 28 feet 4 inches, which is much wider than what's existing. The precast concrete twin box culvert, as we mentioned before, 10 foot of rise. That's what this big orange square shape is. That's consisting of 7 4-feet units. That's how it gets constructed. That all sits on top of 12-inch granular fill, and there will be a cutoff wall to prevent any undermining. This is now viewing from the river onto the bridge itself. The total bridge length will be 36 feet 1 inch. You can see the 3-2 mounted curb here. That's attached to the 5-foot end block, and then that's attached to the approach guide rail, as you can see in pink. All that that consists of the 2 16-feet clear span bridge with the 1 foot in between here. You can see that the whole span is 36 feet because of that. Underneath the culvert, at the bottom of the culvert, there will be a 1 foot of natural stream bed material that would aid the fishes, the fisheries and the passages of wildlife here. Again, and as I mentioned before, there's going to be form liners on the concrete forms to simulate stone masonry on the exposed surfaces that the public can see. Overall, this alternate makes a better for the 100-year storm, creating a negative 0.8 under clearance. The minimum standards is 1.0 feet. It creates a 0.5 feet of freeboard, getting close to the minimum standard of 1 feet. And the backwater elevation of 0.1, it actually meets the standard, which is to be at the max of 1.0 feet. It's a significant improvement from existing. That's why we like this option. This is, again, in orange, you see the box culverts. In gray, it is the wing walls that's protecting the channel and also the fill. So this is all green. That's proposed fill. That's to make sure that the embankments are graded how it should be. With the reconstruction of the Kenyonville Road, I will get more into it. It's gonna be raised just a little bit. In pink, you can see the guide rails. They're meeting standards. There's 3 of them. However, on the southwest corner, there's going to be a barrier wall that's going to be flared out to protect from vehicles. Here, there's going to be some pipe, as I mentioned before in the images. That's going to be replaced in kind. There's one here on this driveway, and then there's another one underneath Pond Road. Those are going to be replaced. Here's a bigger overview of the project itself. Pond Road, most of Pond Road is going to maintain the same dirt road as existing. However, there is a portion that's going to be fully reconstructed, and it's going to be paved. Here you have the limits of the drainage. Sorry, you have the limits of the wing walls. There's going to be some taking line, which we're going to talk more about later. And you have the drainage here on a more zoom out look. Here's going to be some drainage end walls that are going to be proposed to better create a drainage sheet flow. So project limits, 425 feet of project limit, a widened roadway to 24 feet. It will maintain horizontal alignment as existing, minimize impacts to adjacent properties. And as I mentioned before, the approach guide rails will meet the standards. So in order to make the 100-year storm a little bit better, there is going to be a profile increase of 9 inches. This increase, it happens most at the bridge culvert itself. That's where you see the higher increase on the roadway. There is going to be a little bit cut off just to level the curve of the roadway a little bit better, a little bit more to the east side of the bridge. However, just minimum fails at other places. Overall, when looking at the alternates, we looked at a detour, 4.8 miles long. It's using East Fort Road into West Fort Road and then Crystal Pond Road. This detour is recommended since there's a temporary bridge which was not selected because there's a potential archaeological impact to the northwest corner. Due to this, for the negative impacts, we believe a detour is the best way to go about this. For the detour, the schedule will be at least one lane will always remain open until school summer vacation begins. Once summer vacation begins, a full road closure for 10 weeks will start. When school starts again in fall, at least one lane will then be open just to make sure that bus traffic can pick up kids and use Kenyonville Road, and it will also be open to the public during those times as well. There's environmental impacts as there's some tree clearing close to the bridge. There's temporary and permanent wetland and watercourse impacts. There is no historical or archaeological impacts anticipated with this bridge. There are permits that are needed: Town of Woodstock inland wetland permits, Connecticut DOT flood management certification, and U.S. Army Corps engineers self-verification permits are needed. There are utility impacts as well. As I mentioned before, there are overhead utilities and poles on the south side of the bridge. Those are going to be temporarily relocated during construction. Again, here's more of a view. I know there's adjacent property owners. The impacts are 2 permanent takes. So right at the edges of these wing walls, there's going to be some take for the construction and also for maintaining of those wing walls in future years. Also at the south side, there's also another permanent take right at the edge of the bridge. There's going to be drainage right of way for this one here. There's going to be a reconstructing of those end wall and that pipe that goes underneath Pond Road. And because of the increase in the roadway, there's going to be some slope easements. As you can see, the green area does go beyond the town line right of way. So those are just slope easement during the construction. I'm gonna pass it on to Jack for the right of way.
Thank you, Dionis. Good evening. My name is Jack Carlson, and I serve as an assistant project coordinator with the department's Division of Rights of Way. Our office is responsible for acquiring the property rights necessary to carry out transportation projects. As mentioned earlier in the project presentation, this project will require the acquisition of property rights. I'd like to take a few minutes to walk you through our acquisition process. Before I begin, please note the specific right-of-way impacts are still being finalized and may change as the project design progresses. Additionally, any needed property rights will be acquired in accordance with Connecticut General Statutes Section 13A 73, as well as 13A and 98E, as well as the Uniform Relocation Assistance and Real Property Acquisition Policies Act, commonly referred to as the Uniform Act. Next slide, please. The acquisition process begins once the project design reaches a key development milestone and all impacts to private property have been determined. At this stage, our office will send each affected property owner a formal letter of intent to acquire, along with a property map that clearly outlines the specific property rights being acquired, as you can see on the slide shown. Next, we will establish the fair market value of the required property rights. This valuation forms the basis of our offer of just compensation, which is provided to the property owner in writing. A rights-of-way agent will then be available to meet with the property owner to explain the project details, discuss the specific impacts to their property, and go over the department's offer. Property owners will then have a reasonable amount of time, typically 30 days, to consider the department's offer and enter into negotiations with the department. If an agreement on value is reached, the department will then prepare all the necessary paperwork to record the deed and property map on the town land records. However, if an agreement is unable to be reached, to keep the project on schedule, the department will acquire the necessary property rights through its power of eminent domain. In that case, the state files a notice of condemnation with the Superior Court and deposits the amount of the initial offer into court. Property owners then have 6 months from the date on the notice of condemnation to file an appeal if they felt the department's offer was inadequate. Regardless of whether an appeal is filed, the deposited funds are available to be withdrawn by the property owner. It's important to note that the department will only acquire property rights that are necessary for the project. And I'll be happy to answer any questions about the right-of-way process at the conclusion of the presentation. And with that, I'll hand it back to Dionis. Thank you very much.
Hey, Dionis, you're muted.
Thank you, Michelle. Yes, so the anticipated schedule for design completion date is estimated to be 12/2/2026. Advertising 12/30/2026. Construction is anticipated to start in spring of 2027. The construction duration is anticipated to be one season, 8 months, 8 months straight, and construction cost is $3.46 million. 80% being federal funds, 20% being state funds. No cost to the town of Woodstock, and want to point out that the costs and schedule are preliminary and are subject to change. I give it now to Michelle.
Thanks, Dionis. Thanks, Jack. Thanks, Mark. Great presentation. It's now time for the live Q&A portion of the presentation. Our question and answer is open until July 22nd of 2025. But during this live Q&A, you can send your questions to us using the Q&A button down at the bottom of the screen, or you can send us your questions by email at dot.flbp@ct.gov, or by phone, leaving us a voicemail at 860-594-2020. And please be sure to reference the project number 0169-0131 in your voicemail, or you can ask your questions live during our Q&A right now. We currently don't have any questions. We have a question. Will Pond Road need to be closed as well?
Good evening. This is Anand from CHA. No, the Pond Road will not be. It won't be closed during construction. We anticipate putting barriers just in the vicinity of the bridge, keeping Pond Road open, and also all the other driveways open during construction.
We have someone raising their hand, so I'm just going to let them ask their question. Hi, Michael. Give me 1 second. Hi, Michael. You can ask your question if you unmute.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, once Kenyonville is closed, we need to make sure there's good coordination for emergency services between Bungie Fire, which is in Woodstock, which serves this end of Woodstock Valley, and particularly Crystal Pond from here to the Eastford line. With Kenyonville closed, it could significantly impact response times for anything major such as a fire. So with that being said, there's really good mutual aid agreements between Bungie Fire and Eastford Fire. We just need to make sure that we're all on the same page, okay, as to when at the state of the project, so that call cards and proper communication can take place between the two towns to make sure that there's proper fire and EMS coverage for this area.
Thanks so much, Michael. We have another question. We are concerned about the detour routes. Our business generates many extra vehicles during the summer months, and we do not believe that the detours can handle that traffic or the delivery trucks required for our business.
Maybe I can take a first shot at this. We do understand that there are a little bit of challenges with the detour route. We did drive the detour route. It's about 4.5 miles, as Dionys mentioned in the presentation. But this by going through a detour, we are basically quickening the construction. And by selecting the culvert option, we are trying to really minimize the disruption to the public and the traffic. So that's why we are hoping that at least one lane will be open before and after the school summer closure, that we can get the maximum construction done in this 10-week period. So we do understand that there is going to be some disruption, but we're trying to do our best to quicken the construction and minimize the disruption.
Thanks, Anand, and thanks, Emily, for your question. Okay, I think Michael has, oh, put his hand down. Okay. We have no more questions at this time. The comment period is open until July 22nd of 2025. Oh, here's Emily. Is there any plans to improve Crystal Pond Road prior to accommodate the extra traffic?
Right now, I don't think we're planning to do anything, as our intent is basically the bridge project on Kenyonville Road. But if there are some improvements that would be required, we'll have to discuss it with the department and the town on how to proceed with that. But right now, there is no plan.
And just to add to that, Anand, that's also does get into like a funding question, because the program funds the replacement of the bridge and the approaches of the bridge within a reasonable distance. Anything beyond that, federal highway usually will not participate. So that becomes tricky with making improvements to an adjacent local road.
Thanks, Anand and Mark. Again, the comment period is open until July 22nd, 2025. If you have further questions that you think of past tonight, you can send them to us by email at dot.flbp@ct.gov or by phone at 860-594-2020 and leave us a voicemail referencing the project number. John Davis said, "Thank you for providing this information in this format." You're welcome, John.
That as well, you can also reach out to the town, and then they can also reach out to us as well. Any questions?
We'll leave the Q&A open for a few more minutes for anybody who has any questions right now that we can answer for them. Okay, seeing no more questions coming in, I think we'll wrap it up for the evening. Again, one last time, the comment period is open till July 22nd, and you can continue to send us your questions if you think of anything further by the email at dot.flbp@ct.gov. I also threw this in the chat. The information is there as well. By phone at 860-594-2020. Please reference project number 0169-0131. And or alternatively, if you reach out to the town, they can reach out to us with your questions as well. I hope you have a great evening. I am also going to put a link to a voluntary survey in the chat, which helps us with future presentations. I hope everybody has a great night. Stay cool, stay hydrated, and take care.
Thank you, Michelle.